Hi, this is your film studies lesson, your brief introduction to the subject. Very brief, very tricky to do inside short period of time, but let's see how we get on. So the first thing I would like you to do is see how much you already know. So you need a pen, a bit of paper, and I want you to have a go at answering the following questions. The first one, what does the term genre mean? And I want you to do this without looking it up, because there's no point in that. This is about finding out whether or not you know these things already. So if you don't worry. But what does the term genre mean? What do we mean when we say genre? Number two, Disney is an example of one of the big five Hollywood studios that make films. Can you name two more major Hollywood studios that make up the big five studios in Hollywood? Number three, what does CGI stand for? You might well have heard that before, CGI, but what does it stand for? Number three, no, sorry, number four. Number four, in which decade was the first full colour feature film produced? In what decade? Was it the 1920s, the 1930s, or C, the 1940s? So in which decade was the first full colour feature film produced? A, the 1920s, B, the 1930s, C, the 1940s. And the next question, which of the following shots is a close-up? This one, this one, or this one? Which of those shots is a close-up? So A, B, or C? Which of those is a close-up? And here are the answers to the first four. So the term genre is a category or type of film, like horror or science fiction or comedy. So you want to see how well you got on with these, and you can use a different colour pen to mark your answers as if you're in the classroom. Did you get number one correct? What about number two? Disney is an example of one of the big five Hollywood studios. Can you name two more? Warner Brothers, Paramount, Universal, or Sony Pictures? Would have been the answer to number two. You might have heard of those studios. Now, you might have put things like Pixar, for example. Well, Pixar is a subsidiary company of Disney. So Disney owns Pixar. You might have put something like DreamWorks. DreamWorks is a major Hollywood studio, but it's not one of the big five, the top five film producers in Hollywood. So it's one of those, okay. CGI stands for computer generated imagery. And the first full colour feature film was produced in the 1930s, and it's the film The Wizard of Oz, one of my favourite films from 1939, The Wizard of Oz. And then number five, which of these shots is a close-up? This one, A, B, or C? Well, the close-up is C, this one here from The Revenant, starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Probably my favourite actor, I think. Certainly the most, my favourite actor that's still making films today. Leonardo DiCaprio in the film The Revenant, which is a fantastic, fantastic film. So why do we study film? What's the point of it? Is it just so we can sit on our bums and watch films all day? No, not quite. There is a bit of watching films, obviously, but it's not about that, really, is it? We study films because they are often thought to be the most important form of art in the 20th and the 21st century. They're really, really powerful medium, powerful medium. And I wonder what you think that might be the reason, why you think that might be. Why do you think film is considered to be the most important art form? Pause the video and jot down why you think it might be considered to be the most important art form in the 20th and 21st century. So here are some of the reasons why I would suggest that film is really, really important to study, because it's a major industry in most developed countries. It's an important part of people's cultural experiences, and films can educate and entertain us, and they can provoke debate. Films can give a voice to people who haven't got any other way of people hearing their story and their situation. Films can allow us to escape into other worlds. They can help us to learn more about other cultures and other experiences. And it's a major industry. It's a hugely, hugely powerful industry, the film industry. I think probably the video game industry is overtaking it now as another major, major industry. But even the video game industry borrows heavily from the film industry, because so many video games now adopt film style, look, narrative, and everything. So it's a really, really important medium, and that's why we study it, because we can learn so much from it. Now, I want you to think about your experiences of film. Can you think of a film maybe that you've seen that's educated you about something? Maybe you learned something about a particular time in history by watching a film. Can you think of a film that you've seen which has, or could have, provoked a debate, something which gets people talking and thinking about the issue that it's addressing? And finally, can you think of a film that you've watched as pure escapism to escape into another world, to drift off and forget about your day-to-day issues and just get lost in the story? Pause the video, see if you can think of a film for each of those. Okay. The technical elements of film. So one of the other things we do, one of the main things we do when we're studying film, is think about the way in which a film is put together. Okay, we get into the kind of the technical parts of filmmaking. So film form is the term, the bit of vocabulary that we use when we talk about a film and how it is made, film form and all the components of film form. Now, there are 4 areas of film form. Number 1, something called mise en scène. Number 2, cinematography. Number 3, sound. And number 4, editing. They are the 4 parts of film form. Now, mise en scène sounds complicated as a term. What it means is things within the scene. So that's props and costumes and the settings and the locations. That's all part of mise en scène. Sounds more complicated than it really is. And then we've got cinematography, we've got sound, and we've got editing, the 4 areas of film form. And the thing I want to focus on in this lesson, although very briefly, is cinematography. And I'm going to explain to you a little bit more about cinematography. So cinematography involves the following things: shot types, camera angles, the way the camera moves, the framing and the composition, the lighting. So if we're thinking about, for example, framing and composition, why a main character would be in the center of the shot, as I am here, because it says to the audience, here is our main character, they're in the center, they're really important. Why sometimes a main character, or why a character might be over here on one side of the frame, or over here on the other side of the frame, and so on and so forth. So framing and composition, what goes into the shot. Here I've got my little house plant, for example, and we could put other things in the shot to tell the audience more information about characters, and so on and so forth. So cinematography involves those things. And what I want to do with you is a couple of things. Shot types, firstly. I wonder if you could have a look at those shot types and see if you could have a go at working out what the abbreviations stand for. What do you think it means, XLS? What does that mean when you look at the shot type? Same with LS, MLS, MS, XCU down there, BCU, CU, MCU. Pause the video, see if you could write down what you think those abbreviations stand for. So you've probably got something like CU stands for close up. You'd be correct. Let's start at the top left. So XLS, extreme long shot. Long shot for LS, medium long shot, and then medium shot, top right. Bottom left, medium close up, then big close up, and then extreme close up. So different distances between the camera and the subject give us different shot types. Your task then is for each of the following shots, can you identify the shot type that's been used? And then could you have a think about why it might have been chosen? Why do you think the shot type would have been chosen? What is the director trying to tell the audience by using that shot type? Here's the first one. So what shot type do you think this is? And I appreciate you might need to pause and go back to the image of the different shot types on it. What shot type would you say that is, and why would the director put the character in that shot type? You could also remember what I just said about framing and composition. Think about where this character is placed and what might that tell the audience. Where is the character in the frame? To the left, to the right, in the center? Why? So pause, have a go at doing this one. Here's our next shot. What shot type is that? And why might that shot type have been used? What does it help to show the audience by using that shot type? How might it make the audience feel seeing the shot type that like that? And here's another one. What shot type is this? What do you notice about this shot? What information is given to the audience by using this shot type? Bonus point if you know any of these films, of course. Why do you think this shot type has been used? Pause the video if you need to. And finally, this shot type. What shot type is it, and why do you think it has been used? Think about the facial expression of the actor. What might the benefit be of having the shot type at this distance from the actor? What does it help the audience to feel at this point? Okay, and now we're going to have a quick look at camera angles as well. So the camera angle tells us the location where the camera is to be placed, where the shot is to take place from. The position of the camera in relation to the subject can help us see a character or how we see a scene differently. So I don't know if I'll be able to do this here, but of course the camera angle. So for example, if the camera is placed like that, it's different to how it's placed like that, and so on, okay? But that's not a very good example. I'll give you some better examples because that was a poor example by me just moving the camera on my laptop. So again, here we've got some shot angles. We've got the low angle. It's hard to see there, but that should be below that model figure. And then we've got the eye level, the high angle, the worm's eye, the canted angle, and the bird's eye. And so for each of the following shots, identify the camera angle and then explain why you think it might be why it might have been chosen. Excuse me. So let's go back to our shot angles here, and let's think about these very quickly. Okay, let's have a look at the high angle shot there. What would we be telling the audience about a character being put in a high angle shot like that in top right? What does that help the audience feel about that character? How does the low angle shot or the worm's eye make the character appear to the audience? Okay, so let's have a look at these. Here we go. What shot type is this? And how is that making Darth Vader appear to the audience? So why might the director have used well, I almost told you what it was then, the shot type that has been used. And we've got this. What shot type has been used here? Why? What kind of effect is that creating on the audience by having that shot type? By the way, of course, you will need to perhaps go back to the camera angle slide so you can see those again to refer to. And then we've got this angle here. Does this feel like at a straight angle here, or is there something going on here that's slightly different? And if so, why? What is the message being given here to the audience? How is the audience meant to feel at this point in this scene? If you've not seen this film, you can get a sense of what's going on here by the way in which Batman is grabbing hold of the Joker. But what kind of angle is it, and why do you think it's been used? So really, really brief. Film studies is so much more than just looking at a few shots and talking about why they might be used. But it's very, very important that we think about the purpose of film, what film can tell us, what we can learn about people's lives and their cultures from film, how film can entertain us and educate us and inform us, and how there are so many different types of film out there, from documentary to comedy to action to sci-fi, the genres of film. And then what we would do in more detail, of course, on the course is unpick all the technical bits. Why is that lighting so bright there? What's that telling us? Why is that camera angle at a canted angle like this? What do we feel when the camera moves like that, for example? What is that making the audience feel? So we're always thinking about the impact on the audience. So there's so many bits to film. But if you like watching films, but pulling them apart, not just watching them and drifting off or checking your phone while you're watching the film, really looking at film and thinking about what we can learn about what the director is trying to tell the audience, then film studies is fantastic because it's so creative and such a powerful and important art form that it's really worth studying in lots of detail. So I hope that was in some ways a brief taste of what it's like studying film, but it can't ever replace the actual experience. And hopefully you're considering choosing it for next year.